All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath on this 20th day of February, Wednesday. It was great to have Suzanne Posel on. Like I said, I've been a big fan of her work for a long time, and I hope I can work with her and Vinny on their new project. And I should have mentioned we're also, working with Gary Furchi on a similar type project. It is important to collaborate and to try to spread and consolidate this message. I think she hit the nail on the head when she talked about, there is energy in this, I don't like even calling it a movement, in this awakening. There's energy in it. People realize that they're not being told the truth. They're not being given all the information, that we're not on the path that is being presented to us, right? We're not on the path of recovery. We're not on the path of creating new jobs. We're not on the path of solving our nation's problem. We're not on the path of stopping the expansion of war around the world, even though we're told constantly that this is the direction we need to be on in order to keep us safe or keep us financially sound. People are realizing that that this isn't true, even if they're not unplugged from the mainstream, even if they're still living in the pop culture. I think if you ask most people, they would say that they just have a feeling that things aren't right. In fact, I don't have to think that. I know that. I mean, there's all kinds of studies and polls taken where people believe over 50% that we're heading into an economic collapse sometime in the near future. People believe that we're not being told the truth. Without a doubt, you can see this looking at Congress with an 11% or less. I think it's been the single digits now approval rating. People are not only desensitized to the wars, but they're being desensitized to the lies. The people that are still clinging to the middle class with their fingernails, and I think that encompasses just about most of this audience. Maybe you're in the middle class or lower middle class. Maybe you're in the upper middle class, and you're seeing that your future is being flooded away by a central banking cabal, by lies from Washington, D.C., by expansion of our military and security industrial complex. So I do believe the alternative media has a lot of power now and going forward as a rest stop for reality. CV1122 is in the chat room right now. By the way, if you want to join the 70 folks we have in there, wideawakenews.com, click on the radio microphone. You can join the guys in there. You can also watch me do this live through the JTV feed there. But CV1122, in the future, when she's ready, when she's able to do it, she's going to come on the program maybe for a couple of segments. The reason I bring her up because her YouTube channel, Reality Check, she coined that phrase or coined that for a YouTube channel quite some time ago, and that is kind of what all of alternative media has turned into. But talking to Susan tonight and speaking to others in this movement that have ran into the, I'm doing air quote, charlatans out there in alternative media that are delivering the message, but they're not doing it with the same integrity, I believe, as a lot of other folks. They're doing it with an agenda to try to make some coin, a billion-dollar industry, Susan says. And I don't, I have no reason to doubt her. I don't know that stat for myself, but it's obvious when we look at people like Glenn Beck who harness this energy to make himself a lot of money and still is, and others that are making a fat wad of cash off this. Not that I'm against that. But if your motivations are just to build up an audience, build up a subscriber base so you can generate a bunch of income, well, guess what? You're just propagating a system that is destined to fail. All right, that's enough ranting about that. I want to bring on my friend Gabe Elton, who I haven't talked to for, seems like forever, but I guess it's probably only been about a month and a half or so. Gabe, how are you, my friend? What on earth? What's going on, man? What's going on with metal? It's getting shellacked.
It is getting shellacked, but I tell you, it's exciting. I think that it's one of the best opportunities possibly in a lifetime, and it's all false. I mean, it's a false paper market. It's not what we're seeing in the physical market. Coins are flying off the shelf. We are writing a lot of business, which is encouraging because it used to be, you know, whenever you would see a downturn, people wouldn't buy. I've always told you this. And the people would come in once it had gone up, and that's when, you know, we would see the bulk of the buying. But people are getting wise to this, and they're looking at these pullbacks as opportunities. And let's face it, you know, gold's been slowly going down and then mostly going sideways for about the last year now. A little volatility is nice, especially whenever it's, you know, cartel-driven raids in the paper markets, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So for those of us that know better, and those of us that are looking for physical silver or gold, it's one hell of an opportunity.
Yeah, and that is interesting to hear you say. And for those of you, I should have done a better job of introducing you, Gabe. For those of you who don't know Gabe Elton, he is managing sales manager for Austin Rare Coins. Is that? I don't know what your title is. Business manager. Okay.
Sales manager. Yep.
Sales manager for Austin Rare Coin and Bullion out of Austin, Texas, and he's been with Wide Awake News Radio virtually since the beginning. And we'd like to get him on here. We'd like to try to get him on here once a month or so, but it's probably been going on 2 since we've had you on here. But it is true that you know, you've told me in the past, on air and off air, that when it's a pullback, people are fleeing. You know, nobody's buying anything. It's just counterintuitive, right? When it's dropping, people are you know, they're holding tight. When it's starting to shoot to the moon, the order files are completely full. And you're saying you're seeing something a little bit different than that now.
Yeah, definitely. People are looking at this as an opportunity. Like I said, the average guy is getting a lot wiser. I shouldn't say the average guy, because the person buying gold and silver aren't the average guys. We're only about 5% of the population. And but those of us that do buy gold and silver are starting to realize that, you know, all of this is a false reality. How could it be that the U.S. Mint is on track to have their biggest year ever in Silver Eagle sales? How can it be that they can't even keep up with the demand for orders and had to start allocating Silver Eagles, yet silver has fallen about 10% since the beginning of February?
You know what? And I'm embarrassed to say this because I knew you were coming on tonight, but I just now looked at today's action. You know, 2.5% in gold in one day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's huge. 3% in silver.
Yep.
Oh, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm calling you.
It's excellent. I mean, it really is. You know, it's just a great opportunity, and you know, a lot of it had to do with the Fed minutes that came out today. But I think the biggest factor is Ambrose Evans Pritchard put out an article about a Chinese finance minister who wrote a report saying that the U.S. dollar was going to be the world currency for decades to come.
Yeah, I have that story more as of a pun than anything up on my website right now, because I read that. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Go ahead and finish. You're probably going to say exactly
It's a joke. I mean, it is absolute sheer propaganda. Now, I don't know if this guy truly believes this or not, but you know, I intermixed it with stories about cyber attacks from China and about currency wars, and I put this glowing report that this reporter puts together about how China is still in love with the U.S. dollar, and we will be the world reserve currency for decades into the future. And it shows you the animal spirit when this kind of garbage is accepted as reality, and we see a 3% pullback in silver.
Well, look at it like this, Charlie. You know, if you really think about it, China is the biggest gold buyer in the world. They've recently passed India. So what would you do if you want to buy a bunch more gold? Yeah.
Here's interesting. I would say, I love you, America. I love your debt. It's the best thing we've ever bought. Please keep it. Please let us buy more of your debt.
Yeah, and what happens? They get a beautiful price for gold and silver, and I could almost guarantee you that that's what they do. They put out headlines like that so they could buy more gold at lower prices. Because anybody with half a brain can read that report and say, this doesn't make sense. And, you know, the Chinese aren't stupid people. It makes sense if you want to buy gold at a lower price. And that's exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah. Well, there's something called was it the Beijing put? And I believe the number was, this is a few years ago, but I think the number is around 1350 or something like that. that was a floor put in because they were gobbling up everything then, and they still are. Gabe Elton, we're going to be right back. We're going to take our first break of this last hour of Wide Awake News Radio. We'll be back with gold and silver expert Gabe Elton and some of your questions when we come back. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, joined by precious metal expert Gabe Elton from Austin, Texas. Austin Rare Coin and Bullion. A lot of great questions that came in the chat, guys. I think I got most of them. If I don't ask them in this segment, I'll be back in chat during the next break, and I'll ask again. And if I missed it, repost it. Gabe, a lot of good questions here, and I want to, for sure. You were telling me about a special series of coins that have been issued by the Canadian government, I'm assuming, that if you'd have bought some of these a couple years ago, they're worth quite a bit more now. Let's talk about that in this segment. This is a relatively short segment, and I want to make sure we have a long segment to get into some of these questions. So go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Basically, I was actually taking some notes before you and I got on the phone, and it turned out by the time I was done, it was like, I'm going to write an article about this because it's really something that I think a lot of people are missing. You've heard the expression, you're missing the forest due to all the trees.
Right.
And that's really what's happening in the silver and gold markets is, you've got about 3 different people that are buying gold and silver. You've got investors, you've got preppers, and you've got stackers. Preppers, they're just looking for something that they can spend in an emergency, survivalist types, okay? Mm-hmm. And by the way, I include myself as part of every one of these categories. So, and in fact, we all agree on the same thing. We just go about it differently. And then you have stackers, people who just want to buy silver, mainly silver, at the lowest possible prices to see who can make their stacks the biggest. And, our goals are all the same, and the reasons for buying gold and silver are the same. We all have a pretty good idea that the economy's headed for a collapse. We've got a pretty good idea that the end of the dollar seems to be inevitable. We know that the explosive gains in gold and silver are not only probable, but they're are not only possible, but very probable. But investors, on one hand, they don't see the whole picture. They don't realize that this economic situation is not an accident. They don't realize that this catastrophe is really part of a bigger plan. And then you have preppers and stackers who do understand that, but they don't understand it enough. They lack the knowledge of what products to buy. If you go and read most of these blogs and most of these websites and all of these people promoting the idea that silver is tremendously undervalued, almost 95% of them are going to tell you to buy silver bars and silver rounds. And that's going to be a huge mistake because all they're interested in is how much over spot are they paying for a particular item. And so what it does is it leads to them buying the least desirable products. You have to ask yourself, why is it that silver bars are the least expensive product out there? Why is it that silver rounds are the least expensive product out there? The reason why is because they're the least desirable. At the end of the day, if you're using this to spend, people are going to have much more trust in a coin that's backed by a country instead of a private company. If I were to make fake silver bars, for instance, I would have to worry about a private company coming after me. If I were to fake a silver eagle, I've got the Secret Service and the United States government coming after me. So in the heat of the moment, if you're trying to trade a silver round or a silver bar, people aren't going to trust it as much as they will a coin that's backed by a country. Not only that, when it comes time to sell silver bars and silver coins, silver bars and silver rounds, they've got to be 1099. You've got to give up your Social Security number to have a 1099 sent to the U.S. government. Whereas a lot of products, in fact, most products out there are completely private. Most coins produced by countries, meaning I can buy them in unlimited quantities, and I don't have to fill out any paperwork. And most of the people on these sites are the type of people who don't want to fill out paperwork, but yet they have not put 2 and 2 together and said, hold on a second. The reason why these things are only 59 cents or 85 cents or $1 over spot is because no one wants them, number one, Number two, they're not desirable. They're not trusted. And whenever you have to sell them, you have to fill out paperwork. People are missing the boat. And I would say the majority of the people that would put them into the category of a prepper or so-called stacker, they're buying the wrong stuff. And the reason why you need someone like Austin Rare Coins is we can point you in the right direction. Just a quick personal story. When I first started in the gold and silver markets, it was in 1999. And silver was about $5 an ounce. And I was offered a 1 ounce silver coin for $250. And I laughed. It was a 1995 W proof silver eagle. So the coin was $250 in 1999. There was no way I was going to buy an ounce of silver for $250 when silver was $5 an ounce. That coin today is worth $3,000.
Holy cow!
That 1 ounce silver eagle will buy you 100 2013 silver eagles.
All right, hold on one second. We'll pick it up on that when we come back, and the strategy of buying some of the rarity value of some of these coins, and also just the metal itself. We're going to be back with Gabe Elton and more Wide Awake News Radio. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath joined with Gabe Elton, and I promise not to thump my microphone anymore because Gary and Gabe now are both on my case about it. So it's a nervous habit. I apologize right now. I should have announced at the top of the program in this hour, and I should do this every night if I'm going to or not going to take phone calls. And tonight we are not taking phone calls. It's been Gabe's got a list of stuff to talk to. I've got a half a dozen. I got about more than that. I've got nearly a dozen questions written down here, and we're not going to do calls tonight. So I apologize. We've had a few different people calling in, and we're not going to be able to accommodate those tonight. My apologies for not letting you know sooner. Gabe, continue your point. And I said to you as soon as we went into break, that oddly enough, I didn't know you were going to talk about this, but I've been going down once or twice a month, and looking at some of these proof coins and thinking to myself, I should be calling Gabe and maybe just adding one of these a paycheck or something. Maybe that's not exactly what I just like to look at them. They're gorgeous. They're proof coins. They're in nice plastic cases, and it'd be nice just to hold on in its own little velveteen case and pass it on to my son someday, hopefully. But you're saying that's not a bad idea, but we need to. I need to have you before I go out and start doing this stuff, or somebody like you, so I know that I'm buying something that A, has the good content of precious metals, but B, might be able to be like that home run that unfortunately you missed out on in '99.
You're exactly right, and that's one of the points that I wanted to make is that if you were to go out and just buy one proof coin for every year, you're going to pay a premium for that proof coin each time that you buy it. And out of the 26-year history, there's been, maybe 7 or 8 that have proven to be real home runs. And what we try to do is to locate those 7 or 8 coins and recommend them, not necessarily because of to a coin collector. And that's the whole barrier that you have to break is stackers and preppers, they hear the word numismatic or they hear the word collectible coin and
they run away.
They're running for the exits, okay?
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is if you select certain coins based on certain attributes and you talk to someone who is in the market that knows what they're doing and can sort of advise you, you can take those stacks and double them. And that's the whole point is that one $250 ounce of silver that I laughed at is now a $3,000 ounce of silver. It'll buy you 100 silver eagles, 1 ounce. And,
right.
Also in 1991, they made a half-ounce gold eagle. Okay, and by the way, these are bullion coins. They're not numismatic coins. They're not collectible coins. They're bullion coins. A lot of them will cost you, for silver, maybe $1.50 an ounce more than a silver eagle. For gold, they might cost you $60 more an ounce for a gold coin. But if you follow the logic, I think you'll understand a half-ounce gold eagle from 1995 will buy you 2 ounces of gold today. If you had a mint rolled tube of 40 half-ounce gold eagles from 1991, you could turn 20 ounces of gold into 80 ounces. And it's a bullion coin. It was sold for bullion prices in 1991. And more recently, the Canadian government for silver has started a what they call a wildlife series. And what they do is they produce an animal on the coin, you know, animals that come from Canada. The first one that they did was a timber wolf. The second one that they did was a grizzly. The third was a cougar. And then they came out with the moose. Well, last year, it was the cougar and the moose. This year they did the antelope, and they just released a bison. Okay, so look, I don't care about the animals. I care about the silver content. Okay.
Well, you might want to rephrase that a little bit, Gabe. I know you're
exactly.
a hunter. You want to conserve these animals.
I love animals. What I'm saying is that I don't buy them because they're pretty. Okay.
Right.
I don't buy them because I want to start a coin collection. I buy them because they have a limited mintage. They're only they're minting 1 million coins per animal. Okay. Compared to a silver eagle, there were 40 million silver eagles produced last year. Okay. Now, originally and still, these coins cost you about $1.50 more, actually about 90 cents more per coin than a silver eagle. All right. A timber wolf that was released in 2011, 2 years ago. Well, 1,000 timber wolves will buy you 1,700 silver eagles today. Okay. So if you had purchased 1,000 timber wolves, you could almost double your stack, and it's only been 2 years. Yes, of course, originally, you know, they cost you about 90 cents per coin more than a silver eagle.
But because of their rarity, they've increased that quickly. Exactly.
And 1,000 grizzly bears you can trade a day for 1,400 silver eagles. You can take the cougar and trade it for about 1,200 silver eagles today.
I so have a cougar joke.
Didn't you get some of? Did you get some of these?
No, I didn't. The last purchase I had from you was maple leaves, and I'm honest with you right now. During the program, you talked about this during the break. I want to get one of these. I want to get the antelope, but I'm on your site right now. Where do I find them here?
Let's see. What you would do is look at. Let me go there. I believe it would be.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Silver bullion.
Yeah, silver bullion.
And under silver bullion, they should have a maybe Canadian silver coins. Let's see.
Okay, I got Canadian silver and then maple leaves. Yeah, let me see if they have it.
So the first one is the wood bison. Okay, and then the next one is the antelope. But the point to this is, you know, I'm not trying to make a coin collector out of anyone, but if you can buy an ounce of silver that costs you 90 cents more than something else, and then 2 years later it can almost double the amount of silver that you own, that's the type of coins that I want to own.
Okay, so
you know,
I'm going now. I'm going to buy one of these antelopes. These Canadian antelopes, so I can just I can buy one, right?
Well, yeah, but give me a call and I'll give you a better price. And the same thing is true for everybody out there that's listening. Give me a call and I'll get you a better price than what's on the website. But you know, that's the whole idea, and everyone needs a sort of change of mentality. Even more recently, the United States government has been producing an America the Beautiful series, and they're 5-ounce silver coins, the biggest silver coin the U.S. has ever produced. And they started it in 2010, and it sort of fizzled. There wasn't a whole lot of interest. Nobody really liked them. Well, they had to stop production last year. We don't even know if they're going to continue production. But now that no one can get last year's issues, everybody wants them. The Hawaiian Volcano, which is a 5-ounce coin that it would have cost you about 90 cents an ounce more than Silver Eagles, released last year. It's worth $60 an ounce today.
And I'm on the America the Beautiful series, a 5-ounce silver. This is a 2012. It sounds like it looks like you have some of these, right?
Well, let's see. I don't have very many. I've got some of the sets. The volcanoes are completely sold out. They're worth $300, and it's a 5-ounce coin. I can't sell them individually. I have them as 5-coin sets.
Okay. Oh, I got you. And then the pricing there is per 5-ounce coin.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and that's the whole thing is if you had like a mint case of 100 America the Beautifuls, okay, that would be 500 ounces of gold of silver. That mint case today would buy you, let's see, 1,500 silver eagles. You could turn 500 ounces of silver into 1,500 ounces of silver. The coins were released last year.
Wow. All right, you sold me. I want to get an antelope, and I might talk to you about this these 5-ounce things because those look. And I know you don't care about the animal, how beautiful it is or whatnot. But I have a bunch of silver. I have a bunch of just bullion generic silver, and I love silver. It's gorgeous to look at, but I really do enjoy owning some of these more beautiful coins. I do have some eagle proofs that I love to look at once in a while, and I think they're just kind of cool. We're going to be back with Gabe Elton. Hold on a minute, Gabe.
You're exactly right. Go ahead.
All right, we'll be right back with Gabe Elton. Last break of this hour. We'll be back with your questions after this. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Final segment. I'm going to get to these questions right now, but I do want to say if you're interested in anything on the website, please call Gabe tomorrow. He stopped me. I was going to order this antelope, and he told me during the break, if anybody's interested in anything that you see on the site, get it. Feel free to buy it on the site now if you want. But if you wait till tomorrow and call Gabe when he's in there, he'll give you the good guy price. Gabe, what number should they use?
You could use our main number. It's 1-800-928-6468. And either myself or someone else will be glad to assist you. Just make sure to let everyone know that you're calling from Wide Awake News, and we'll be glad to get you an even better price.
All right. Well, I'll definitely give you a buzz in the morning and either get that antelope. You might talk me into one of these the 5-ounce coins because those are pretty dang cool. Let me get these questions. First of all, I'm going to combine two of them here. One of them was how much paper silver or paper metal, I should say, was dumped today to see this 3% shellacking, and that ties to another question, which was why didn't silver drop last week when a bunch of paper was shorted? You want to tie all that together?
Yeah, basically, silver did drop last week. It started on Friday, but I think what he's referring to is there were some warnings from the CO Commitment of Traders report that came out earlier in that week, and there was a little bit of warning where a lot of silver shorts were added. The funniest thing is I was recently able to talk to a good friend of mine, Shane McGuire. He recently wrote Hard Money. He also wrote Buy Gold Now in 2008. He manages one of the world's largest pension funds. It's over $100 billion, and he was instrumental in setting up the first ever gold and silver fund within a pension fund. I shouldn't say the first ever, but the first modern gold and silver fund within a pension fund. And the funny thing is, we talked about J.P. Morgan and them, shorting 75% of the world's silver supply. And the answer was, yeah, Gabe, but compared to their their total assets, it's just such a small percentage of their entire assets. And the funny thing is you get people, the average guy these days can look and say that there's something ridiculous going on here. But then some of the smartest guys in the room believe that, it's kind of normal for J.P. Morgan to have, 0.1% in silver shorts, But the thing is, as far as what's happening currently, it's hard to say. We don't get those numbers for another 4 or 5 days to figure out what happened over the last week, and it's going to be interesting to see. But everyone knows, this market, the market that you and I and the people that are asking the questions deal in, is a physical, real market. It doesn't have anything to do with what's happening to the price of silver. Like I said earlier, the U.S. Mint is selling more silver eagles than they have in their 27-year history. How does that correspond with a 10% drop in silver? It doesn't.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. And it's really, it's really nothing new. I mean, we've been trying to, call this or look at this manipulation over the last couple of years that you've been coming on here, and the demand for physical is continued to be high. I don't think you've ever come on and said you can't you have too much physical, you can't give the stuff away, and we've seen a constant even considering the last this month, February, 10% drop. Well, you know what? When I started making YouTube videos, I went out and bought a couple $1,000s worth of silver at $8 an ounce, and that wasn't all that long ago. And now we're sitting here looking at $28.33 at the close today, and shocked because it's fallen so much. Well, I'm kind of like Gary. He put in into the Skype chat that he was a buyer, or he put in our chat rather he was a buyer at 8, he was a buyer at 15, he's a buyer at 20, and I kind of hold the same philosophy. Whatever. I mean, the powers that be are going to do what they're going to do up until their game has run its course, or until this monetary system has run its course. And then I want to be sitting there holding precious metals for various reasons. I want to hold some of this stuff that Gabe, you're talking about, that is maybe rare or going to be worth more than the value of the actual precious metal itself. Because and not that I'm a big collector, but I see the potential for return there, and I want to hold a lot of generic, as it were, just bullion, because I do believe it's proven itself throughout history as being a store of wealth and an actual true currency. So I get the JP Morgan manipulation question all the time. I get people talking about gold and silver manipulation all the time, and to me, it's there's so much corruption in every aspect of finance and government. It doesn't even register anymore that maybe this isn't manipulated. It absolutely is, and as long as they have this kind of power, they're going to continue to manipulate.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the thing is that you can see it, I can see it, your listeners can see it. Most everyone can see it and will agree that gold and silver are headed much, much higher. And the thing is that once this runs its course, what none of us knows, what I don't know, what you don't know, what the listeners don't know, is when it's going to happen. Everyone seems to know that this eventuality will become a reality. And if that is the truth, and I think we could all agree that it is, does it really matter if you bought silver at 28 or 38, like the guy said in the chat room, and like you said yourself? I was a buyer at 8. I started buying around there myself. I'm still buying. I see this, like I said earlier, this is a real opportunity to really back up the truck, and it's waking a lot of people up. People are finally seeing the light and taking advantage of this, because that's what it is an opportunity.
And the one difference that you're talking about tonight that you've never said on the program before is on these pullbacks, or these beatdowns, as I call them. Usually, it's crickets over. The phones aren't ringing. People are selling. They're not buying, and you're seeing something different this go around.
Well, it's never that they're selling. People have the idea that when silver is falling, that people are selling to us. Mm-hmm. About 98% of my business is people buying every single month, every single year. About 2% of our business is people selling.
Okay,
but basically you're exactly right. As far as the crickets, when the market falls, it's dead as doornails. I mean, it's completely quiet around the office. When gold and silver are skyrocketing, we can't pick up the phone fast enough. And this is different. This time, people are seeing this as a real opportunity. We've had a lot of business starting on Friday. We wrote more business between Friday and Wednesday than we probably did in the 2 weeks before that combined.
Wow. That is certainly something different, especially when it was, like I said, taking that beat down. Okay, a couple more questions. Palladium. I had that come in. Talk about palladium a little bit. You have touched on that a little bit in the past. I don't even know what palladium's sitting at right now.
Right around 700.
Okay. Wow.
I like palladium, platinum. I think they're a real trade play. It's not something to buy and hope that you're going to spend it in an emergency. It's not something to really buy, I don't think, even for the long term. The reason why is because it's very much tied to industry. They use it in catalytic converters. That's where the main demand of platinum and palladium come from. Platinum and palladium are sister metals. They have melting points that are very similar, so they can be used in industrial applications and a lot of green and solar applications. The problem with palladium and platinum is that the manufacturers were set up to use palladium back in the early 90s. Palladium was over $1,000 an ounce. Platinum was $400 an ounce. The manufacturers ditched palladium in favor of platinum, drove platinum to over $2,000 an ounce, and that's where currently both have fallen, but that's where we currently sit. Platinum is worth about $100 more than gold today, but 6 months ago it was $200 an ounce less than gold.
Right.
And so that's what I mean by there are trading opportunities in platinum, but and there are times to buy it, but I don't know that right now is the time to buy platinum or palladium. If you ever see platinum less than gold, then it's really a good time to buy platinum and palladium because they're undervalued. Platinum's 10 times more rare than gold, and to be able to buy it for less, I think makes sense. But I wouldn't hold it for 5 or 10 years. I'd look for 1 to 3 years. Well,
and like you said on palladium, it's huge in the automobile industry, and if you're anticipating a slowdown, we would naturally anticipate a falling in the price of palladium. And 744 is the ask today. That seems really high. I mean, I remember not long ago it was in the low fives.
Yeah, in fact, we recommended it when it was $380 an ounce.
Yeah,
and we recommended platinum about 6 months ago when it was $200 less per ounce than gold, and now it's about $100 more expensive than gold.
All right, next question, because I'm looking at the clock and rapidly run out of time here. Copper, the next silver. I hear this every once in a while. I've had people make an intriguing argument on copper to me, and I'm not necessarily a naysayer to it, but it just seems like the premium is just so high when you look at bullion. Am I wrong?
Here's the thing. I like copper too, but you're exactly right. The premiums are ridiculous, and the reason why is it's not necessarily because you're getting ripped off. It's because copper is so cheap, and the cost to mint a coin or a bar is so much that you have to pay so much over spot that it doesn't make sense.
So you're not holding I guess rooms full.
I would hold copper pennies, but I certainly wouldn't go buy copper rounds or copper bars.
Well, it's part of the new urban mining plan, which is pulling the copper pipes out of homes and hoping to get your $4 an ounce out of them. Right. Okay, let's see. There is one other question somebody put in there. Is Montana a nice place to live? I don't know if Gabe can answer that, but I certainly can. Montana is a wonderful place to live. I know for a fact that some of a listener is moving to Montana here recently. And, if you're in the middle of a war zone and you're looking for a place to migrate to, the West certainly is still a place of destination, and I think one of the brighter spots in the nation is this region. Gabe, Elton, Ostermeyer, Coin, and Bullion, thank you very much for your support of Wide Awake News Radio. I appreciate all you do over there, and I appreciate what you do for us. And I will definitely be calling you tomorrow at 1-800-928-6468. If you do call in, make sure you mention Wide Awake News Radio, and Gabe will take care of you and get you a better deal than you can find on the internet. Gabe?
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Charlie.
I greatly appreciate your time, and I greatly appreciate you sponsoring this program as you've done since the get-go. We'll get you on again next month.
All right, man. You have a good night.
You too.
All right,
guys, thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, Susan Posel and Gabe Elton. And we'll be please stay tuned because Jeff Rentz, he's coming up right now. Tomorrow night, we're going to have, of course, Eric Lovely, myself, and Mike Badarnik. I know I'm not going to say Badnarik. He's our guest tomorrow night along with Eric Lovely. Have a good night. Peace.